Hello, everyone. I'm Mystery.
I am Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator, and today in random bullshit on the internet.
Yeah, we have got a legal breakdown of the DoorDash girl case. Dalton, you're unfamiliar with it, so I'll give you the bare basics before we get into the video. So, essentially, what happened was uh, a man had placed a DoorDash order and a woman delivered it. He had given instructions on the order to leave the order on his front porch. But when the girl got there, she noticed that his front door was open. Not open, but unlocked and possibly partially ajar.
Okay,
And so she looked inside and saw that the man was unconscious on his couch with his shorts down and his junk out. It's quite possibly the man had was jorking it and then fell asleep on the couch. Why
okay.
you would do that without making sure your at least door was locked
Yeah,
first?
I don't.
I don't.
Why you would do that? Why you would order food and then while you're waiting for it do that also is a little bit of a what in the fuck were you
It's
thinking?
possible it's possible the food was going to take like an hour, so he just got bored. And I'm not here to speculate about why the man did what he
Right,
did.
I'm just saying this seems like an almost intentional comedy of self-sabotaging errors here a little bit.
Well, the man is the victim in this case, so I'm not going to try and
Oh
be too
dear.
hard on him. But yeah, so she took her phone out and made a TikTok video recording him, including him being unconscious with his junk out, and then put it on TikTok, claiming that she had been sexually assaulted, which by any metric is absolutely
Okay,
ridiculous.
the TikTok thing by itself would be fucking evil. But to frame it as though she was assaulted by this guy that she is now recording is probably the most pure, distilled fucking evil thing it would have been possible for her to do. Like, she could have literally gone in and looted his house, and it still would not even remotely come to the level of evil it would take for this bullshit to happen.
Yes. So her argument essentially was that the man had intentionally left the door open so that she would see him, uh, in full and with the junk out. Whenever she came in, she asserted that he had like set her up to see this, which is ridiculous. And you're going to see in the video that this is basically all just a way for her to play the victim.
Okay, I don't know how DoorDash works. Did he know she was a girl before or after making the order? Because,
Possibly. Like some do give the name of the driver, and they sometimes have a profile pic associated with them, so that just that yeah, this is the person you can expect to be delivering. But again, the man was unconscious. It really doesn't, you know.
right, I'm just saying, because I wasn't aware if DoorDash even did that. So I'm like, uh,
And
is
also,
that is that even a thing he could have had access to, assuming her crazy fever dream paranoid bullshit was remotely plausible?
he gave instructions for her to leave it at the step, so she could have just she didn't have to peek in. She could have just like, okay, I'm at the step, drop by.
Yeah, do the thing you are paid to do. And instead of doing the thing she was paid to do, or I guess in addition maybe to doing what she was paid to do, assuming that she, did eventually leave the food somewhere, to frame this as man falls asleep while in post coital bliss and women most affected.
Yeah, it really goes to show how utter disregard a lot of women have towards men, because this woman gave no thought to uh, publicly exposing this man, posting naked footage of him, and then claiming to have been victimized by him.
Yeah,
And
that's
there
like
are,
non-consensual pornography type shit. He could
yes,
countersue her for making him star in unconsensual pornography, let alone the sexual assault allegation, because I've said it before and I will say it again. When you erroneously accuse someone of committing sexual assault, you are as bad as accusing them of murder, pretty much. Like, rape is right down there with murder in terms of some of the worst things a human being can do to another human being. So when you accuse someone of being a sexual assaulter, you might as well just accuse them of murder. That's like morally, moral equivalency wise, those are two very similar things. And naturally, people don't take well to someone who they think is an assaulter, which means that if this guy is arrested, if this guy is assaulted by an angry mob, or loses his business or his livelihood because of this bullshit, that is now on you. Fuck you.
Yes, and while there were a great many people who were rightfully calling her out, both men and women, there were also, unfortunately, a number of people who were giving her support in the comment section of her various TikTok videos because she
I
didn't just
mean, there
make
were
the one
journalists
video.
defending Amber Heard even after the trial, so I shouldn't be surprised, but faith in humanity takes a little bit of hit here.
Yeah, so she made multiple videos regarding this incident, and I believe this video is going to cover a few of them and also what's happening legal wise. So I'm going to hit play now.
Yep.
Customer of hers who was asleep.
So I gotta go back a little
Why
bit.
am I getting fired? Why are my videos getting taken down and why am I getting strikes? Like, I'm about to lose my account. I was assaulted. I'm the victim. I lost my job. I'm the victim.
This TikToker.
It shows you a bit of her mentality right there.
Okay, my darling, you made what is essentially unconsensual pornography of this person and falsely accused them of sexual assault. That, in a nutshell, is why you are receiving consequences for this. And thank every deity that you are receiving consequences for this. Because like 10 or 20 years ago, this would have been an open and shut case, and he would have lost everything as a result of this. So, yeah, no, thank you, forces of the populace, for reaffirming at least some of my faith in humanity here. Yeah, you made unconsensual pornography of this person and accused them of assaulting you while they were unconscious, which also fuck you. And now you are claiming victimhood over it. Again, man has his sexual privacy and reputation completely shot to hell. Woman most affected, somehow. The woman who is an unaware pornographer, most affected somehow.
Yes, and it goes to show just how far people will go for the currency of victimhood, which is a very destructive and toxic thing that we introduced into our society. But I think the time has come where it's beginning to pass, and we are getting to get a measure of more genuine justice because, like I said, this guy, outside of the initial video where she to publicly humiliate and shame him, he hasn't really faced much backlash of it because even though there are some people in the comments who support this woman, the vast majority of people can clearly see that this man was in fact the victim and that he didn't. I mean, it might be a bit embarrassing for to get caught with your pants down, but he was in his own home. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He was in the privacy of his own home, where something like masturbation is entirely feasible. And no one even asked you to approach the door that was apparently ajar or anything. Like, even if the door was wide fucking open, which would muddy the waters a bit. You were still instructed specifically to leave the thing on the porch and have a nice day. But No, you decided you are being victimized by the fact that you decided to go snooping in this guy's home, and damn the consequences, I suppose.
Yeah, and the consequences that she's facing here are entirely of her unmaking. What she could have just done the delivery, and if she saw the guy with his pants on, it could have just been like an unfortunate incident that lasted like all of
Yeah,
5 seconds.
like
She's the one that made a video about it and then spread it online, which got the attention of both, DoorDash and the police. So this is entirely on her.
yeah, in a more civilized age, what would have happened here is she would have gotten to the location. She would have been grossed out by seeing it. She would have left the food on the porch like she was instructed to, and then she would have gone home and bitched to one of her girlfriends or maybe her significant other and said, "You won't believe what gross thing happened to me at work today or while I was door dashing." And then nothing further need be added to the mix. But instead, she decided to morally grandstand and shame him, and on top of that, accuse him of assault while she is seen and while she creates non-consensual pornography of the fucker. And yet she does not understand why either of these last two actions were in any way beyond the pale. The woman card is a hell of a drug, I tell you.
Yes, but it looks like it's being declined at the moment.
Thankfully, again, faith in humanity slowly restoring there. Yeah, thank goodness for the red pilling of things like Me Too and the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case that have finally normalized this. No, the woman card isn't a literal get out of jail free card. Fuck you. It took us a long time to get there, but we did eventually fucking get there. To some degree, anyway. Hooray. Moving on.
Recently went viral for posting a video of a DoorDash customer of hers who was asleep on his couch in his living room, naked from the waist down. And after going viral, she decided to go to the police about the incident, saying the customer sexually assaulted her, even though he was asleep the entire time that she was at his property. Since then, TikTok took down the video and all replacements that she tried to upload. DoorDash fired her as one of their gig workers, and she was arrested for 2 felonies: unlawful surveillance of another person and dissemination of said unlawful surveillance.
Fine job done by our men in law enforcement right there.
Yep. Based red pill, but correct. Moving on.
And now on December 4th, 2025, she made her first court appearance for her arraignment. And despite the fact that she self-snitched all over the place in her various TikTok videos about this whole incident, at this arraignment, she pled not guilty. And from what it looks like, the only real defense...
She does not...
You recorded yourself doing the very thing they're charging you with.
Yeah, she does not understand that she has done anything wrong here. She thinks that because she was subjected to someone else's sexual image that she went out of her way to go look for, mind you, that she is psychologically traumatized and should be mollycoddled accordingly. Again, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, that would have been how this would have gone down and the world would have been a worse place for it. But thankfully, we live in a post-Me Too, post-third wave intersectional feminist, post-Johnny Depp Amber Heard scandal world where people are slowly but surely, the worm is turning for. Thankfully.
The thing is, the not guilty verdict is hilarious because it's like, my dear, they have you on film. Hell, you have you on film, and then you uploaded it to the internet for everyone to see. And then you made multiple videos about it.
But you see, in her mind, in order to be guilty, she would have had to do something wrong, and she still hasn't clocked that she is the one who did something wrong here. That she escalated this admittedly gross incident into a level of moral depravity that has not been seen in years.
Well, hopefully she'll learn something by the end of it, but I doubt it, considering
I mean, she's still red in the face, probably chanting, "I'm not guilty, I'm not guilty, I didn't do anything wrong." So I don't know if she's ever going to clock that she is the one who not only did something wrong, but escalated the wrongness into so many more magnitudes of wrong.
Defense that
Moving
she
on.
has is by continuing to double down on this idea that she's a victim of sexual assault. We'll talk about why that is, and we'll talk about why this means that looking down the road, one of two things is likely to happen. Either she's going to go through some kind of difficult character development and a process of growth and maturation where she ends up taking some kind of a plea deal, which means that she takes responsibility for her actions, of course. Or she's going to dig her heels in until the end of time and 100% get convicted and end up with a worse sentence simply because she refused to give up on her deluded self-victimization. If she takes that path, she could end up.
Are we honestly assuming that anything but that third option is on the table for her? Because I would almost feel cheated if she did get a plea deal. No, the absurdity and the, again, moral depravity of this needs to be rectified. The book needs to be thrown. The Code of Hammurabi, like stone tablets and all, need to be thrown at this bitch. For the sake of my fucking peace of mind, if nothing else.
I mean, I can understand why the courts might want to take a plea deal because this is something so stupid that they might just want to get it over with. But I do agree that there definitely needs to be some consequences to deter other people from doing this kind of thing.
Because, sadly enough, and this is the sad part, it would be more comforting if this was so rare that it was nonsensible. But the disturbing thing about this scenario is how normal and commonplace it feels to me. And that, in and of itself, is an indictment on the current state of civilization. That something like this is only just slightly out of the norm. Because we know the kind of, like, panopticon of TikTok surveillance the world exists in now. And we know the, like, neurotic self-entitlement of the woman card. And we know how little people seem to give any fucks about men as anything other than objects or protectors or toys. But my fucking god, like, this is the absolute state of the world right now, where something like this can happen and it's only slightly unusual. Again, the worm is turning because 10 years ago or 20 years ago, this woman would have been treated like a victim, like she claims to be. And fortunately, the books are getting thrown at her instead, it seems. But the fact that this is even so normalized that she can pretend in her own mind to be the victim of it and not see what she did wrong is, again, a kind of neurotic, depraved entitlement that we need to deprogram people out of. And so, get ye the stone tablets and throw them at her, goddammit.
You know, interestingly enough, I haven't heard much from the man in this situation, though, considering it's probably for the best to not say anything publicly and just handle this stuff through lawyers and let the courts handle it.
Yeah, because unlike Akilah Hughes, this guy probably knows I'm not going to say anything about this case until the case is resolved because I don't want to hurt my chances. Which, again, if that is the guy's rationale, based in red pill.
Also, she's already melting down online on her own. Whatever contributions he made would probably be minimal at best.
I hope he's sitting back eating popcorn while he watches this whole fiasco happen to her. Frankly, that would be a, like, karmically just thing to have happened.
Yes,
I hope he's wearing pants while he does it. I hope he learned that lesson, but I hope he is, like, relaxing and laughing at her comedy of errors here.
End up as the poster child / cautionary tale for why you really shouldn't go through life seeing yourself as a victim of the world. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you need more background on this topic, we recently put out a video talking about the whole subject from top to bottom. So if you haven't already seen it, feel free to check out the video linked in the description below. Also, side note, you may have noticed that after moving in August, we finally got our stuff. And only about a month late after it was supposed to. Mr. Bites and I have been using an air mattress this whole time, and let me tell you, I do not recommend more changes to the background behind me. But anyway, let's talk about this latest court appearance. But first, I do have to thank this video sponsor. We all have 20% off all wide, and it can be used even when okay, for reals this time. Let's talk about what happened with the DoorDash girls' court appearance. So really, the only thing that's changed now is Olivia Henderson, also known as DoorDash Girl, has now been arraigned, and she entered her plea of not guilty. And I guess I'm not all that surprised that she went with a not guilty plea at the outset, because that's pretty common, actually. Even in cases that don't really look great for the defendant, sometimes there's enough there that by entering a not guilty plea, you can retain some amount of leverage for a plea deal where you might be able to get some of the charges or penalties removed or lowered. If prosecutors have bigger fish to fry, for example, they might be more likely to negotiate a plea deal that the defendant might not otherwise get if they just enter a guilty plea from the outset. That said, there also is a benefit to pleading guilty.
I assume that this is the criminal charges that got filed, the unlawful surveillance and distribution thereof. I honestly hope that there is a civil suit after the criminal suit, and this guy sues her for like defamation of character and shit. Because, I mean, again, accusing someone of being a sexual assaulter is very nearly as bad as accusing them of being a murderer. The only thing worse than either of these two things is pedo shit.
Yeah. But I would think that the civil suit would go after the criminal one, because wouldn't all the evidence from the criminal case be a matter of public record unless they could use it for the civil case?
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm saying I hope that after the criminal case is settled, I hope this guy takes her for defamation of character and whatever else they can think to stick her with, because again, she accused him of sexually assaulting her, and she, without consent, distributed his naked from the waist down image, and she went into his house to do it when we have it on record that he instructed her to leave his food on the porch. So that could be adding like a trespassing sort of thing here as well. And maybe not breaking and entering, because there wasn't actually breaking involved, but like unlawful entering of a private property is certainly on the cards, I would think.
Guilty if you think that your case isn't likely to win at trial. That's because when it comes to sentencing, judges typically will use their discretion to assign a lesser punishment where they can if the defendant pled guilty, as opposed to letting it go all the way to trial. And the thing is, if Henderson's case does go all the way to trial, I think that her chances of winning are slim at best. To explain that, let's first talk about what the prosecution needs to prove with these charges. As a reminder, there are two of them. The first is unlawful surveillance, and the second is dissemination of unlawful surveillance. Now, the second one is basically where you do all the things for an unlawful surveillance, or you know that an image or a video was obtained through unlawful surveillance, and then you take the additional step of selling or publishing it. So with that,
which she did, she posted it online, and also because she was in his house and she filmed him within his own home without his knowledge, obviously because he was asleep. Like, there's no way he could have signed off on that, or would have.
Yeah, and you can't even argue that the door dashing was permission or something, because we have the data and it says that he told her to leave it on the porch, which means there is no cause of any kind for her to enter his home uninvited.
That, let's dig into unlawful surveillance, since it's needed for both of these charges. Here, the state is charging her with a violation of subsection 1 of that statute specifically. And under subsection 1 of the New York Penal Code section 250.45, The prosecution has to prove the following. First, the defendant intentionally surreptitiously recorded/broadcast another person. Second, the defendant recorded that person while they were dressing, undressing, or otherwise revealing their intimate parts. Third, the defendant did this when the person had a reasonable expectation of privacy. Fourth, the defendant did all of this without the person's knowledge or consent. And finally, the defendant recorded the person for the purpose of another person's amusement, entertainment, or profit, or for the purpose of...
That's literally all in one video.
Yes.
She's cooked.
The only thing I could see there being a tiny bit of pushback on is the reasonable expectation of privacy thing. If the door was ajar, maybe. But again,
the thing is, the door could be like slightly. It wasn't like the door was full open. Like it was, I think, mostly closed and only slightly ajar.
okay. So yeah. But that one minor reservation of maybe they would be legalistically sticklery about it. Yeah, no, this is about as cut and dry a case of unlawful surveillance and distribution thereof as the Kyle Rittenhouse case was a case of self-defense.
You know, thinking back, I think she actually opened the door more to record him.
Okay, well then yes, that is definitely a you are snooping when you should not be snooping, and fuck you.
of degrading or abusing him. So looking at all of this, element one is
She
easily
mocked
met.
him, so
we know that Henderson
and she
reported...
accused him of being a sexual assaulter. I would call that a very clear case of intent to demean and abuse him.
Not just like her abusing him, but like she posted it online so that others could, demean and abuse him as well.
She basically did the equivalent of Nelson Muntz pointing at someone and going ha 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 over and over again.
For the DoorDash customer, because that's what went viral on TikTok after all. We also know it was an intentional recording. It's not like she happened to be vlogging her work or something and a naked man walked into the frame behind her and she didn't intend to record him. She saw him there on the couch and decided to take her phone out and record him.
That's fucked up.
Second, we also know that the recording included an image of him naked from the waist down. I'm not showing that part of her original video for obvious reasons.
I have seen the original video, and yeah, you definitely see the man's junk.
Well, again, unconsensual pornography, question mark?
Yep.
But it is out there on the internet. And not only that, but Henderson also told TikTok that she showed the video she took to the police after she finally reported it, and she also emailed it to them after that.
And they sent a police officer over to speak to me in person and watch the video that I have. And then he asked me to email it to him, and he asked me if I want to press charges, like what do I want to come from this? And I said...
So they have the video sent directly from her, which means that it's going to be impossible for her to fight these first two elements. Anyway, then there's a part about the man's reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, for one thing, Henderson acknowledged again to TikTok that there are issues of privacy here. In fact, she said that the reason that she hesitated to call the police was precisely because
Olivia, darling, you do not have any cause for pressing charges against him. He has cause for filing charges against you, and in a sane world, he already would have. And again, I'm hoping there is a civil suit going to come of this as soon as the criminal suit is done and dusted. I'm hoping the guy gets a little bit of his own back after this bullshit.
I mean, I expect that he would. I mean, the case is pretty much a slam dunk. As much as I've ever seen one.
The only reason he wouldn't is if he just didn't care. In which case, you should count yourself lucky if he doesn't care and is willing to let you off the hook. Because in a sane world, if someone makes what is essentially unconsensual pornography of me while I'm sleeping, having not been invited into my home and doing so in my home, no, fuck you. I'm going to burn you for that. Fuck you. Especially if you, in addition to all that shit, accuse me of assaulting you while you're at it. Fuck you. Moving on.
I didn't report this to the police last night because I wasn't sure of DoorDash's process for like SA, or if this was even reportable to the police in New York State because he was in his home.
Now, of course, her whole point is that she maintains that his door was wide open when she approached and that you could see him from the doorway. So I imagine that she's probably going to dispute this element. I mean, she'll probably say that he didn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy because his door was wide open. But I, of course, also have to point out it has been reported that the police said that they reviewed the man's ring footage showing his front door. And according to police, the door wasn't wide open when she walked.
It says ring camera footage appears to show Henderson let herself into the man's house, and police have said there is no indication she was encouraged to go in, let alone film.
Yeah, no, that's again, I understand the temptation to question the reasonable expectation of privacy thing. That was what I noticed earlier. But yeah, no, even that should, in a sane world, which admittedly we don't live in a lot of the time, but in a sane world, that should not be disputable here.
Walked up. She let herself into the man's home. So if they do in fact have that footage and it does depict what is being reported it depicts, then yeah, she's pretty cooked on this element as well. Then there's the fourth element, recording a man without his knowledge or consent. If you've seen the original video, yeah, he looks pretty unconscious. Now, she claims, of course, that he laid there naked specifically because he ordered and then saw that his DoorDasher had a female name. And this is to suggest that he wanted to be seen somehow. However, the fact that the instructions said to leave the food at the door says otherwise. And honestly, I don't know what facts she even used to concoct that theory, because there is nothing in the original video that can suggest anything other than the fact that he's just totally passed out on his own couch.
And it's an entirely theoretical, conceptual framing based on the premise of I am virtuous, pure, and innocent and can do no wrong. Men are malignant sociopaths, therefore. It's the logic of the gynocentric woman. It's the logic of the woman card. That's all that is. I'm betting. It's just I must be the good guy and must be the victim. Therefore, this guy must be some kind of mastermind trying to trick young women into being exposed to his genitalia. Somehow.
For this element, the prosecution is likely going to call the man as a witness to describe his night, how he got drunk, what he remembers about ordering DoorDash and undressing and laying on his couch to sleep. And he'll likely say, no, I did not consent to anyone taking any photos or videos of me while I was sleeping on my couch. So based on what's publicly known, I think this element is likely to also be pretty easily met. So out of these 5 elements, she's pretty cooked on the first 4 so far. And now for the 5th one. This is where the prosecution has to prove her intent in filming him. And the thing is, usually intent...
Her intent in filming him, she literally...
because I'm familiar with these kind of videos, I'm assuming that she did a little bit of snarky commentary while she was recording this. Correct?
During and after. Like I said, subsequent videos about this, like proving that her intent was to get victim poison to humiliate this guy. In fact, I think there's a video out there where she laments that he hasn't gotten fired.
Especially given that she made follow-up videos and didn't let this just be a one-off. I think it's fair to say that she wanted to big up her TikTok reputation. She wanted to do a little bit of old-fashioned third-wave feminist Gamergate era or Me Too era cancellation, and then because we are mercifully now in the year of our Lord 2025, and therefore the worm is turning in the other direction, she got, frankly, what she deserved from this.
Yeah, I think there's actually videos that she made where she's angry that TikTok is not allowing her to monetize these videos.
Meaning that she explicitly is stating that she wanted to monetize them.
Yeah, like she
Both
was mad that she
the
wasn't getting
original
money.
and the follow-up videos, presumably.
Yeah, maybe that's covered in this next part.
Intent is one of the hardest things to prove in any case. That's because it requires digging into the mind of the defendant. And that isn't always so easy. But unfortunately for Henderson, she opened her mouth all over TikTok and made this element way easier for the prosecution to prove. Now, obviously, she says that she recorded him because he sexually assaulted her and that she was recording it so that she could report him. Now, for starters, in my last video on this topic, I did lay out why this can in no way be considered any form of sexual assault, just not in this reality. But she might argue
God
that
bless
although
the
this doesn't
pompous
meet the
enjoyment
legal
of idiots, making it so much easier to for all the world to see that they are in fact idiots.
If they hadn't
Thank
said
you
what
for
they
undermining yourself, Olivia. You're doing God's work after all, actually.
honestly, if people like this woman weren't so entitled and arrogant, I don't know if this, currently with feminism would have died as fast as it has.
Again, thank the gods for the self-entitled idiocy of morons.
legal definition of sexual assault, that she as a layperson had some kind of reasonable belief that he was doing something illegal to her. It's not exactly a perfect defense, but I can see a defendant making a mistake about the law like that and not actually intending any harm by it. But unfortunately for Henderson, she has a number of big problems with that defense, and all of them are documented on TikTok. Number one, and I talked about this in my last video, she uploaded the video to TikTok first and only went to the police after a bunch of people commented on her viral video to convince her to report it. If the purpose of recording the man was to gather evidence about her assailant to provide that to the police, her first move should have been to go to the police, not to upload to TikTok. So right there, she already has a huge problem with using the "I was reporting sexual assault" claim. And to be
Also,
clear,
fuck you,
if there
random
was-
commenters. She is not the victim here. He should be reporting her. Fuck you.
Okay, one of the best things about this case is the fact that the ability to know when to shut the fuck up is becoming a vanishing skill.
Again, it reminds me a lot of the Sargon versus Aquila lawsuit, where she kept bragging about how she was going to be the one who took the scalp of Sargon of Akkad, and she was going to prove once and for all that social justice was better than anti-social justice, and blah, 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 freaking blah. And that she didn't care that he had kids, and blah, 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 freaking blah. So like, again, thank goodness for the morally indignant, self-righteous idiocy of morons.
Was someone who did record for that purpose, and they did go to the police and only handed over that recording to the police, that would be pretty clear evidence of their intent, and specifically their intent to report what they think is a crime. But the timing of her events just says otherwise. Second, she has talked way too much about this whole thing on TikTok, and in so doing has revealed her true intent for posting the video there, at least what appears to be her true intent. For one thing, there's monetization. In one of her rage videos, she goes on about how TikTok not only took down the video, but also, by taking it down, prevented her from...
You can, like, obviously it's blurred and there's no sound, but you can clearly see how angry she is in that clip.
Yeah, honestly, it's fairly clear to... I mean, we are very old hand at this point. Like, we remember the days of Gamergate, and we were directly involved in the days of Comicsgate. So I think it's fairly conclusive to say she wanted to do a little bit of good old-fashioned, like, 2013 era feminist cancellation. She wanted to pull an Anita Sarkeesian. She wanted to pull an Akilah Hughes. She wanted to pull a Zoe Quinn and Brianna Wu and get all the victim points and probably a lot of money on Patreon or whatever else the fuck. She wanted to pull a Mattress Girl from like, I think it was like 2014-ish. That it seems like that is what she wanted to do. She wanted to be the next, like, Big Red or Trigglypuff, if those were less derogatory, etc. And sorry, dear, it's not 2013 anymore. You can't just pretend that everyone who sees through this feminist bullshit is a Nazi anymore. You can try it, but frankly, you have Amber Heard to blame for this not working anymore. Because Amber Heard single-handedly red-pilled a lot of otherwise normal men. And
Not just
again,
like
thank
men, but
thank
also
the gods for the incompetency of evil so that good can triumph in the end.
not just men, but also a lot of women were surprised by what came out in the Johnny Depp case as well.
Yeah. And again, it probably did poke a few holes in some women are wonderful feminist narcissism and gynocentric blind spots. So yeah, thankfully, we live in a post-Me Too, post-Amber Heard discourse, and in such a discourse, the 2013 help I'm being victimized by my own actions thing ain't gonna fly.
For making any money from it.
And they took down my video. They were going to have to pay me for my second story time because that was over a minute long. They were going to have to pay me for all those views I got. So nope, they took that right down. They took that right down. Absolutely not. They're not paying me for that. Nope.
And the big
She sounds more upset by the prospect of it getting demonetized and taken down than I'm betting she was during the incident in question. I'm betting that during the incident in question, she was derisively mocking him this entire time.
Yeah, like she is concerned about finally making it big on social media and be able to earn money and
And get
make
the Anita Sarkeesian Zoe Quinn style moral cloud out of it, probably too.
yeah. She's more concerned about that she is about the than she is about the case, because when she showed the video after talking to the police, like she didn't seem that upset, but when TikTok started paying her the money, well, that's when she's really mad.
Yeah, I just thought of another famous example of this. Remember Zarna Joshi?
Remind me.
She was the Indian woman who was like filming a local council meeting, and a guy, I think his name was Rudy, came up. She asked him what his name. She asked him what his name was, and he made a dad joke and said his name was Humongous. And she freaked out and said, "You just made a sexually arousing comment to me. Therefore, I'm going to have your ass because you're a vile misogynist, figurative assaulter." Blah 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 blah. The "what is your name" woman, if you remember that incident.
Like, I've seen in the intervening time between that happened, I've seen way worse, like, funny name jokes than that. Like, seriously, like that is the most like milk toast, like unoffensive
Yeah.
dad joke that.
And speaking of feminists trying to make a moral crusade out of it, she ended up trying to make a moral crusade out of it afterwards. So yeah, congratulations, Olivia. You are now in the same category as Akilah Hughes and Zarna Joshi. Wah, 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 wah.
big problem for her is that this self-snitch fits very neatly into that final element for unlawful surveillance. Specifically, it shows that she posted the video to TikTok for the amusement, entertainment, or profit of someone other than the man she recorded. I think any reasonable person would look at this whole situation and say that she intended it for all of the above, especially for her own profit, given what she just said in that clip. But wait, that's not all. There's also the possibility that the prosecution can prove that she also fits into this intent element because she posted the video to TikTok for the purpose of degrading or abusing the man.
Like, this is the only justice I'm getting, is exposing this man and having posted that video and it has gone viral. Like, now he can live with shame and embarrassment if people have seen it and knows who he is or where he, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one being punished. He's not getting in trouble with the police. He didn't lose his job if he has one. Like, what's going on with him? Why am I getting fired? Why are my videos getting taken down? And why am I getting strikes? Like, I'm
because you unlawfully made porn of someone while they were sleeping, and then tried to mock, defame, and shame them for it, and morally grandstand over them for it.
And again,
That's why.
Here's her publicly and openly admitting that her intent was to shame and embarrass this man and damage his life, which again is going to be incredibly damaging to her case. Like she genuinely screwed herself by not shutting up.
Yeah, you wanted to gamergate him. You wanted to do to him what Zarna Joshi tried to do to the guy who I think his name was Rudy. You wanted to do to him what Aquila Hughes desperately wanted to do to Sargon back in the day. And here is you admitting it. You wanted this to be a Me Too era cancellation where you can claim he assaulted you and then whoop, he's deplatformed from everything and also possibly debanked. Well, sorry, dear. Again, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this would have been easy as pie for you, and I am so fucking grateful that we no longer live in that world. Again, thank you by proxy, Amber Heard, because you single-handedly broke the spell of women are pure, virtuous, moral goddesses who would never do anything wrong.
Was assaulted. I'm the victim. I lost my job. I'm the victim. Right? Is this making sense to any fucking buddy?
No, it isn't. You recorded someone sleeping in a sexual manner in their private property when you had no permission to enter said private property, and you mocked and morally derided him for it, hoping to get either some sort of let's laugh at the idiot who exposed himself to sexual material points out of it at best, or let's cancel him for being an assaulter at worst. So yeah, no, you can fuck off. It ain't 2015 anymore, sweetheart. The worm has turned, thanks to Amber Heard primarily, and thank God for it.
Yet no one's considering you the victim because everybody knows you're the perpetrator. And it's like you could really see that like everybody knows now about victimhood mentality and people, trying to get others canceled for victim points. And when she's out there literally begging to be viewed as a victim, like you can only see that that's why she did what she did.
It's like the one Canadian talk show, like radio host guy, Gian Gomeshi, versus Lucy Dicatere. People were so pissed that he got off because she accused him of raping her, and the prosecution was able to prove not only was that not the case because he wasn't anywhere near the place that she claimed he was at the time, but also she's the one who propositioned him, and she propositioned him multiple times after the incident. So the alleged incident. So yeah. Welcome to that category of people, my dear. You are in the same category as Aquila Hughes, Lucy Dicatere, Amber Heard, and so on. Well, okay, maybe not Amber Heard, because as fucked up and bullshit as this is, it's nowhere near as fucked up as that whole rigmarole.
Yeah, this girl only metaphorically shat the bed.
You're still a horrible human being, and you need to come to terms with the fact that you are not morally pure in this situation. But you are like several orders of magnitude not as bad as Amber Heard, because that woman is the kind of evil female caricature that centuries from now will be the basis for Disney villainy. Amber Heard is in the same category as fucking Elizabeth Bathory and Lady Macbeth, for fuck's sake.
But yeah, if she's going to really try to press for a finding of not guilty all the way to trial, she has to double down on the idea that the man sexually assaulted her. Because otherwise, thanks to her endless desire for internet attention, she couldn't let the incident go, and she had to keep running her mouth about it. And now, as a result, the prosecution has just about every...
I've seen enough cases like this and enough people like this that I am almost like 95.6 Yeah, 95.6 percent certain that is precisely what she is going to do. And much like Akilah Hughes was, she will be utterly gobsmacked and demoralized when the cold light of reality comes along and points out to her that she was in the wrong this whole time. That she was the spiteful one, that she was the morally depraved one, that she was the one who, if anyone was assaulted in this situation, and I'm not even saying that anyone was, because I think overusing things like rape and sexual assault is a bad thing, but if there is a case for anyone being assaulted in this case, it's him. He was unconscious at the time, and yet you made him star in an Airstats porn anyway. And he was in the privacy of his own home, where he should be allowed to disrobe at his leisure because it's his own fucking private space.
Yeah, she has a lawyer now, so hopefully the lawyer can convince her to stop making stupid TikTok videos that are incredibly damaging to her case. But honestly, I think the ego on this woman is so big that she's going to continue.
It didn't work. It didn't work when the lawyers advised Akilah Hughes against it when she was suing Sargon. So, again, this woman is a very familiar harbinger at this point to those of us that have been in the anti-SJW manosphere space for a while, and the shadows of social justice monger present are no different than social justice mongers past. We can hope that there will be no ghost of social justice mongery future, but I'm not sure if I'm that optimistic.
Everything they need to convict her on unlawful surveillance, and by extension, dissemination of an unlawful surveillance. Because of course, we all know that she's the one that posted the video to TikTok. And so, if the state proves that she actually did commit unlawful surveillance of the man, proving dissemination will also be super easy. So at this point, she really has two options. Either try to negotiate some kind of a plea deal, which means dropping the claim that she was sexually assaulted and actually taking accountability for her actions, or she can continue to beat the self-victimization drum all the way to trial in the hopes that she finds an entire jury of people who are willing to ignore logic to somehow agree with her that she is in fact the victim here. Like I said, if this goes to trial, I don't.
As little faith as I have in the average people and how easily swayed they are, I don't think anybody's going to buy this one's case.
I should fucking hope not. I would prefer if she doubles down all the way to trial and then gets the Akilah Hughes treatment or the Amber Heard treatment. Because god damn it. Again, this is about as cut and dry a case of unlawful surveillance and dissemination thereof with the intent to mock and deride as the Kyle Rittenhouse case was an open and shut case of self-defense.
Don't think that this will end very well for her. And if she's convicted at trial, as opposed to entering a guilty plea, the punishment is actually likely to be much harsher than if she does in fact change her plea to guilty before that point. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you think she might change her plea to guilty so that she can get a lighter sentence? Or do you think that she's going to keep her narrative going all the way until the bitter end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.
I have faith in the morally grandstanding blindness and stupidity of morons. I don't have faith in much else at the moment, but I do have faith in the self-incriminatingly stupid and morally grandstanding affectations of stupidity. I'm hoping that they give her the max penalty and that this will go down in history. And I hope that she does have an Akilah Hughes, I don't know what happened reaction when it happens. I hope that she is that blind of a person, because I don't want her to get a plea deal. I want her to be faced with the full armament of consequences for this. Because this is a litmus test for how fucked up the world is. And if she is allowed to plea bargain, I will think less of humanity again for it.
I don't think she
I
would
want the sweet savage Schadenfreude. God damn it!
I don't think she would plea bargain because that would require her admitting that she had done something wrong, that she was not the victim and was in fact the perpetrator. But I think that she is going to take this all the way to trial, and I also think that she's gonna not going to be able to shut herself up from speaking.
The only the only way I could see her taking the plea deal is if she thinks she's lying when she takes it. Like, I could see her making the Machiavellian calculation of, I still don't think I'm in the wrong, but I'm willing to lie in court so that I can get off for this. I could see that being the calculation. I don't think it's possible for it to register to her before the consequences that she did something wrong. I do, however, think that she is capable of, I know I'm in the right. I know I'm being persecuted, but I will lie to save my ass. And then probably bitch about it years later that she had to quote unquote lie to save her ass.
Here's the thing, I don't think it really matters to her if she believes. I think it matters more to her if other people believe it. Because why else would she be so obsessed with monetizing it and putting it out on social media?
Well, it's that impulse to monetize that I think does leave open the possibility of her again thinking in her own head that she's lying while admitting to it. I think she genuinely does think she's being legally persecuted, but I think she might, the like Machiavellian self-interested part of her might make the argument to herself, okay, I know I would be lying when I said this, but if I lie and claim it's my fault, then I will get off a lighter sentence.
I mean, that's possible, but I genuinely believe that she wants other people to see her as a victim. Like, it's the whole, like, what's the point of, being a, online victim if you don't have other people telling you how brave you are?
Yeah, I think you're right, which leads back to my default of I have faith in the morally grandstanding stupidity of morons. I just think that this person is monetization focused enough and Machiavellian enough that she might, again, in air quotes, lie to save her skin. Even though what she would be, quote unquote, lying about is not a lie, it is the truth, but she's too moralistically sacrosanct and self-involved to realize that she would be more truthful when she thinks she's lying than she is when she thinks she's telling the truth. It's the Barbie phenomena. It makes more sense when it's completely upside down than it does when you take it as read.
If she is found guilty, I don't. What do you think the sentence is going to be? It's probably not going to be a whole lot of jail time, but I hope that at the very least she does spend some time behind bars.
Is that something we could look up?
I'd have to go back and see exactly what the charges are, that I could try and look them up. Let me see where the charges show.
Now, the second one is basically where you
Let me see.
are two of them. The first is unlawful surveillance, and the second is dissemination of unlawful surveillance. Now, this.
All right, let me see if. Let me see.
It is a felony, so I assume at least like 5 years apiece, but I don't know.
Looking it up on Grok right now. Damn it, it gave me the information about the charges in England because I was asking it questions about England. zombies in America.
Good for Grok for having a long-term memory, but we're more interested in this side of the pond for the moment.
See. See, about it, it's probably about like a year in jail. See, a year in jail, possibly up to 3 years.
Okay, so three years maximum for just the first, or 3 years maximum for the two combined.
I think it's for combined.
That's slightly disappointing, honestly. I was hoping it would be more. I'm hoping they might extend the sentence a little bit more, given the obvious blatance of this. But I suppose 3 years is better than nothing. I wonder what Grok would say if you asked it specifically about the mattress girl phenomenon, because it might know what the mattress girl case is, or not mattress girl, but DoorDash girl. Sorry, misspoke. But yeah, if you asked it about the DoorDash girl specifically, what it would say.
See, I asked for the charges, the length of time, possible jail time for the charges combined. It says real world totals often range from several months to 5 to 10 plus years in prison. I don't think you should
That
give it 10 years in prison.
that seems more fitting. I would be happier with the like a lower end of that scale.
Yeah. So it says states like California and Texas up to 3 to 6 years, possibly per felony count. So that's like 6 to 12 years.
Do we know what state it took place in? Because that might help.
Let me see. Let's go back to the beginning.
The DoorDash girl's court appearance. So really the only thing that's changed now is Olivia Henderson, also known as DoorDash Girl, has now been arraigned and she entered her plea of not guilty. And I guess I'm not all that surprised that she went with a not
to lose my account. I was assaulted. I'm the victim. I lost my job. I'm the victim.
This TikToker recently went viral for posting a video of a DoorDash customer of hers who was asleep on his couch in his living room, naked from the waist down. And after going viral, she decided to go to the police about the incident, saying the customer sexually assaulted her, even...
I'm just going to look it up online.
Olivia Henderson is her name, if that helps.
The state of New York.
Ah.
Let me see. See, outcomes vary. See, these crimes isn't funny. These crimes often trigger mandatory sex offender registration.
Based and honestly correct.
See, consecutive leading to totals of several years, commonly 2 to 7 years possible, depending on court. Aggravation like victim harm, minors, and judicial discretion. Real world example include multi-year prison terms for similar counts. She might have gotten off with a lower sentence if she wasn't constantly being belligerent online about it.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing that befell Keely Hughes. She was so convinced she was in the moral right that she acted like a rebellious crusader who was mounting a revolution because she thought, I'm going to be the one to take down Sargon. But the name of Akila obviously shall live forever in the annals of like feminist heroism, etc. and blah. And it seems like the same kind of thing here. Obviously a little different because it's not, one TikTok or YouTube personality going after another, but it's the same kind of mentality. I am so sure that I'm in the moral right that nothing can touch me, and I'm a righteous and pure crusader for the greater good. It's a little bit like when Amber Heard on tape said, "Go tell them, Johnny. Go tell the world that Johnny Depp got assaulted by a woman. Watch as you lose your man card," or something to that effect.
Yeah,
And much like this girl, 10 years or so before it actually happened, she would have been right, but the worm has turned thanks to third wave feminism, intersectionality, and Me Too making utter tits of themselves. So here we are. Also, the fact that it was recorded helps, but obviously.
yeah, so I asked Grok specifically about this case, and it says, since these two separate felony counts, a court could impose consecutive sentences if convicted on both, lead to a theoretical maximum of up to 8 years in prison.
That would be nice. That would be some sweet savage Schadenfreude.
I doubt she's gonna hit 8 years, but I think 5 would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good.
With the sex offender registration just being the cherry on top of the whole thing.
And frankly, I could see this woman throwing a tantrum after she gets sentenced and making it even worse for herself by like assaulting the people who are intent on taking her away. She might be one of those hysterical people who as soon as the consequences of what she's done hit her, she again tries to play the like martyr card and like, oh, I am the victim, you're not taking me, you're blah blah blah, and then she like assaults the bailiff and that gets thrown in on top too or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. It'd be hilarious if it did, but I don't think that'll happen.
I admit I'm engaging in a little bit of wish fulfillment here, but in a like Hollywood catharsis way, that would be how this would go. She would remain convinced until literally the bars slam home, to borrow a phrase from Shawshank Redemption, and she probably would still think that she was the victim the whole time, even while in prison.
Do you have any final
Reminds
thoughts?
me a little bit of I don't know if you remember this guy, but Hagbard Celine. He
Yeah,
was
I
one of
remember.
the like anti-SJW reaction YouTubers, and he also served some time in prison. So every now and again, he would tell interesting prison stories from the inside.
Yeah, I remember his channel. But do you have any final thoughts about the case?
In a just world, the comedic Schadenfreude would ensue from here. I hope we live in something approximating that just world. Because this is just, again, it's not even that this happened that's the issue. It's how pervasive this morally grandiose sense of purity and entitlement certain women have by virtue of the woman card. And I am somewhat satisfied that the worm has turned enough where this shit doesn't fly anymore. But I will be infinitely more satisfied if she continues to double down and gets the full measure of the consequences she is owed. Because I don't want there to be a plea bargain. I don't want there to be extenuating circumstances that let her off the hook. And I certainly don't want them to pull the, well, she's a woman, so obviously she can't do anything wrong card. No. For once, this one time, let these people receive the full measure of their consequences and let the implications of that sink home for once.
Yeah, I'm glad that the justice system is actually engaging in genuine justice and not buying into the believable woman narrative that this guy is actually, being acknowledged as the victim of this woman's crimes instead of the perpetrator of her false assault narrative. And I'm glad that most people online are even capable of seeing through this. Obviously, there's always going to be a group of morons out there who will buy this bullshit, but I'm glad that most people are seeing sense and recognizing what an absolute insane and toxic woman this is, and hopefully she gets her just comeuppance in a just sentence where she actually spent some time behind bars.
And icing on the cake or sprinkles on the ice cream here. I hope that after her criminal suit is done and dusted, that the guy files a civil suit and gets his own back from her. Because not only does this woman need to be shown to be the obliviously, moralistically harpy woman that she is, but this guy, like as satisfying as I'm sure the Schadenfreude of seeing her get her just desserts would be to him, he deserves to get some of his own back as well, because even if not a lot of people believe her, being accused of sexual assault is one of the most heinous things you can be accused of. And the fact that he was essentially, no, I'm going to say it, the fact that he was essentially sexually assaulted in his own home and starred in unconsensual pornography, no, that shit needs to be, not only does she need to lose, he needs to win. He needs to get some of his own back. He needs to prove that he was, in fact, the morally the morally good party in this circumstance.
All right, everyone. I've been Mystery.
I've been Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator. Here's to catharsis, Schadenfreude, and consequences of well-deserved bullshit. And we will see y'all in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Goodbye, everybody.